Good evening, friends. Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. This is the live NYPD press conference. They're going to give us updates on the shooting, the mass shooting that had occurred at about 6:45 p.m. at 345 Park Avenue in New York City. The numbers are conflicting. We're going to be waiting to get the numbers from the New York City mayor, the police commissioner Tish, and various other officials that may or may not speak at this press conference that was scheduled for 10 o'clock. Ed and I are waiting again for them to step up to the podium. This is a look at New York's Presbyterian. Ed, been here quite a few times. I'm familiar with this. This is a huge campus. What do you think we'll hear tonight from the mayor and the police commissioner?
The usual. He's going to come out and give the as much as he can. He's going to ask for respect and prayers for the family of the fallen officer and the other victims involved. If these other victims have not been had their loved ones notified, he probably won't share their information. He'll only share information that of the victims that have been notified of their loved ones being killed in this horrific event.
Correct. And I don't anticipate us hearing much additional information as it pertains to the investigation on the perpetrator. Definitely his name is out there, so they're probably going to give his pedigree. But it's going to, we're going to hear a lot of verbiage of this is an active and ongoing investigation, and this is preliminary. And things of that nature. That's the kind of verbiage that I expect us to hear from the New York City mayor, the police commissioner, and I think they said Alvin Bragg, the district attorney, is there. There's nothing to charge at this time because the perpetrator is deceased. So unless there's co-conspirators and so forth, but we'll hear more about it at this live press conference. Hopefully they'll give us more instead of less. But let us know what you think in the chat. But Ed, anything else that you might want to add to it?
I'm just bewildered. This guy had to have planned this for some time because it appears he drove across country to perpetrate this attack.
Yeah.
What's the trigger here? I want to get to the bottom of what's the trigger here.
Right. Was there a manifesto? Did he have writings? Did he do posts on social media? I'm sure that the FBI, along with the NYPD, is looking at all of his online profiles, if there are any, and to see if or what he's posted, and things of that nature.
And I'm sure Henderson Sheriff's Office out in Las Vegas Metro, maybe, I'm not sure where exactly he lived in that area, but I'm sure they're involved now, and they're probably with the FBI out there doing raids on his home.
This never gets easy. I always go back to the beginning of my role as mayor in Harlem Hospital, where Officer Mora and Rivera were assassinated. I remember watching their family members enter the hospital and a loud yell of, "No, God, please tell me it's not true." And I thought about that today when the notification came over from the police commissioner that we had a number of shots fired, and we're still unraveling what took place. And our hearts are heavy. 5 innocent people shot tonight. We lost 4 souls to another senseless act of gun violence, including a member of the New York City Police Department, Officer Islam. He served in the 47th Precinct. He was just 36 years old and a 3.5-year veteran of the department. He was doing what he does best, and all members of the police department carry out. He was saving lives. He was protecting New Yorkers. He's an immigrant from Bangladesh, and he loved this city. And everyone we spoke with stated he was a person of faith and a person that believed in God and believed in living out the life of a godly person. He embodies what this city is all about. He's a true blue New Yorker, not only in the uniform he wore, but in his spirit and energy of loving this city. And early tonight, I met with the officer's family. I told them that he was a hero, and we admire him for putting his life on the line. This was his dad's only son. Now think about Jordan, my child. And it's unimaginable to experience a loss of this magnitude. And 3 other innocent civilians are also dead. 2 males and 1 female, and another male is seriously injured, fighting for his life in critical condition because of the violent, despicable attack. Additionally, the shooter is dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. To be clear, 6 total tonight died, 1 including the perpetrator. And I'm sorry, 6 total was shot tonight, 1 including the perpetrator. No words can describe this act of evil, a man who takes the life of others who are innocent. And no words can fill the void that has been left by this tragedy. Our hearts break for the families and friends of the victims. We pray for the swift and safe recovery of the injured. The horrific crime reminds us all how easy it is to gain access to a gun. Gun violence has scarred so many neighbors and ripped apart too many families across this entire country. And we will continue the fight to do all we can to protect our city. But tonight we mourn for those who were killed. And we pray for the families as they go through this painful moment. And as I stated, 5 innocent people were shot. And the perpetrator was shot. We will continue to do what we do as a city, and that's fight to protect innocent New Yorkers. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to the Police Commissioner of the City of New York, Commissioner Tish.
Thank you, sir. The information that I'm about to provide is preliminary and subject to change. At 6:28 p.m., the 911 call center started receiving multiple 911 calls for an active shooter inside of 345 Park Avenue at 52nd Street in Manhattan. What happened next is under an active investigation, and details are still coming in, but here's what we know so far. Surveillance video shows a male exit a double-parked black BMW on Park Avenue between 51st and 52nd Streets, carrying an M4 rifle in his right hand. He walks towards the building's entrance. That individual was seen exiting the BMW alone. The building's security camera footage shows the shooter enter the lobby, turn right, and immediately open fire on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire. He makes his way to the elevator bank, where he shoots a security guard who was taking cover behind the security desk. 1 additional male is shot in the lobby, per his own statement from the hospital. The shooter then calls the elevator, which opens in the lobby. A female exits that elevator, and he allows her to walk past him unharmed. He goes up to the 33rd floor, which is route and management, and begins to walk the floor, firing rounds as he traveled. 1 person was struck and killed on that floor. He then proceeds down a hallway and shoots himself in the chest. In total, we have 5 victims shot, our officer and 4 other innocent civilians, plus the shooter. The shooter is believed to be Shane Tamura, a 27-year-old male with a Las Vegas address. The vehicle he exited is registered in Nevada to Mr. Tamura. Inside of that vehicle, officers found a rifle case with rounds, a loaded revolver, ammunition, and magazines, a backpack, and medication prescribed to Mr. Tamura. The vehicle was searched by our bomb squad and found to be clear of any explosives. The initial investigation shows that Mr. Tamura's vehicle traveled cross-country through Colorado on July 26th, then Nebraska and Iowa on July 27th, and then in Columbia, New Jersey as recently as 4:24 p.m. today. The vehicle entered New York City shortly thereafter. According to our law enforcement partners in Las Vegas, Mr. Tamura has a documented mental health history. His motives are still under investigation, and we are working to understand why he targeted this particular location. 345 Park Avenue is a commercial office building whose tenants include the NFL, Rudin Management, KPMG, and Blackstone. At this time, 4 of the 5 victims are deceased, including our NYPD cop. Our officer was transported here to New York Presbyterian along with 1 male civilian, the lone shooting survivor, who is in critical but stable condition at this time. 2 other civilians, 1 male and 1 female, both deceased, were brought to Bellevue. The 4th civilian is a female who was found dead on the 33rd floor of the location. Additionally, there are 4 other victims being treated for minor injuries sustained in their attempts to flee the scene. Victims' names are being withheld at this time, pending family notification. Officers from our Special Operations Division are currently conducting a secondary sweep of the entire building. I want to be very clear. We believe this to be a lone shooter, and there is no longer an active threat to the public. But today, 4 innocent victims are dead. Among them is NYPD police officer DutyRon Islam, 36 years old, 4 years on the job. Officer Islam was married with 2 young boys, and his wife is pregnant with their 3rd child. He's assigned to the 4-7 precinct in the Bronx. He was doing the job that we asked him to do. He put himself in harm's way. He made the ultimate sacrifice, shot in cold blood, wearing a uniform that stood for the promise that he made to this city. He died as he lived, a hero. I want to extend my profound sympathies to all of the victims and their families, and to the brave NYPD cops who today lost a brother. There are still many questions that we have to answer, and we will answer them. But for now, our city is in mourning for the innocent lives lost. May their memories be a blessing. Pat. Sorry. Oops, sorry.
Patrick Hendry, president of the PBA. This is a devastating night for our city, for our police department. Pure evil came to the heart of our city and struck innocent people. And one of our police officers who were protecting those people. We lost 4 people tonight, and our hero brother who gave his life for this city. He was a hardworking police officer who was proud, we know, from hearing from his family, to put on that uniform and shield of a New York City police officer every day and went out and did his job. And he went out every single day to provide for his family, whether it was overtime or whatever he had to do to provide for this family. That's what he did on a daily basis. And his family is devastated. A wife losing a husband who provided for that family. A father who's not going to see his son again. And our hearts of every New York City police officer right now is hurting. We're hurting for our brother police officer who we lost. We're hurting for that family. We're hurting for all the victims and hurting for all the families of the victims. And we're all asking, why? Why did pure evil come here? And we know our police department and our law enforcement partners will work tirelessly to get those answers. But now our job as police officers is to be there for this family, to support them in any way that we can, to come together as a city, to be there for these families of the victims. And we will continue to do that because that's what New York City police officers do. And we're going to continue as police officers to go out and protect this city because we know that evil can strike at any time. But police officers are willing to risk their lives to protect everyone in this room and protect everyone in this city. So we ask all New Yorkers to pray for our police officers' family, to pray for all the victims and their families. And we need to stand united going forward. We thank you for covering this story.
Yeah, we are also joined by our federal partners from the ATF and the FBI. I want to give an opportunity to our partner in the FBI, a special agent in charge of the New York City Fields Office, Chris Rea.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, on behalf of all the men and women of the FBI, I'd like to extend my deepest condolences to the victims of this senseless tragedy. And also personally, I want to extend my condolences to the police commissioner. And just please know, ma'am, and Mr. Mayor, that you have the full force of FBI New York and the full force of FBI to get to the bottom of the answers. Upon learning of the incident this evening, FBI agents immediately deployed to the scene to assist our NYPD partners. While this remains an NYPD investigation, the FBI's New York office stands ready to provide any and all resources to assist our partners. Initial checks of our internal systems have not revealed any information about the subject. But when and if more information becomes available, we will share what we can, when we can, with the public. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to do some on-topic questions. CNN, please.
Just a quick question about the police officer. When he was standing in the lobby, did he have a chance to fire his weapon at the shooter, or was it completely handled? And also, when the shooter got to the floor, approximately how many people were on that floor and what were they doing?
All of this information is under active investigation. Videos are being reviewed. And as this investigation continues to unfold, we'll be able to answer those questions. But right now, it's an active investigation.
Well, Commissioner, if you could just talk about, he was working paid detail there. People who might not know what that means. And was he the only officer working that paid detail there?
I believe that there were 2 officers in the building working pay detail assignments in different parts of the building.
And what is that if people, may say he's on his day off working in uniform?
Pay detail is a program that we have set up at the police department that allows companies to hire officers in uniform to provide extra uniform security.
Commissioner, did you share based on interviews with witnesses, did she say anything at all? And secondly, did you leave behind any manifesto, any writings or
I already described what we found in the vehicle, and it's too early in the investigation to discuss anything more.
Thank you.
Is there an indication that he had a prior connection to New York? What's the real estate?
As I said, too early in this investigation to tell, but nothing that we have seen preliminarily.
Commissioner, can you talk about what the medication was that was found in the vehicle?
I cannot.
Can you speak about any prior law enforcement contact you may have had?
I cannot, other than to say that our partners in Las Vegas made us aware of a mental health history.
Yes, sir. What's your girl?
You shared it because you have like its history was whether or not you had.
Just what I said already. It was an M4 rifle, and we also found a revolver in the vehicle with ammunition and magazines. He did have a license in the state of Nevada.
Your one?
Was there any intelligence in the briefing that that written beforehand, and are we considering targeted attack or not?
At this time, it's too early in the investigation to tell.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, you have been listening in live to New York City Mayor Eric Adams, NYPD Commissioner Tish, and PBA President Patrick Henry giving an update on today's shooting attack on a commercial building on Park Avenue in Midtown Manhattan. We now know that 6 people in total were shot tonight. That includes a gunman. 4 people are dead, including NYPD officer Islam, 36 years old, a husband and a father, a 3.5-year veteran of the department, an immigrant from Bangladesh who loved New York City. The shooter is dead. He shot himself. Commissioner Tish says that he was a lone shooter, so there is no active threat to the community. We now know his name, Shane Tamura, a 27-year-old man from Nevada who traveled cross country before arriving to New York City and then going on that shooting rampage at 345 Park. He carried an M4 assault rifle. Commissioner Tish says that he had a documented mental health history, and the investigation into that motive is ongoing. We're going to be back live from the scene of the shooting scene next.
So there you have it, Ed. Just what I predicted, an active and ongoing investigation. We cannot release any additional information, but what we did glean is that he had an M4 rifle, a revolver inside the car. He drove cross country in that BMW. We thought it was a Maserati, but it was a BMW. It had writing on the back. 5 people shot, 4 dead. And they said a total of 6 people shot, including himself. I'm not counting him, but 5 people were shot, total of 4 dead. Again, somber mood. You could see the looks on the face of the PBA president, Patrick Henry. His voice started crackling at certain points. A mental health history, shocker. Folks with mental health issues. I believe, his permit was not renewed. If he's got a documented history of mental health issues, I don't think he should be having a firearm. But like you said, people just get him no matter what. So your thoughts before we wrap this up?
Couple thoughts here. If in fact what the commissioner is saying is true, and it is an M4, an M4 is a select fire from assault rifle, so you would need a federal tax stamp to purchase it. And as you said, if he had a history of mental illness and that wasn't in the system and it allowed him to legally purchase these handguns, that shouldn't happen. Also, once I got the name and the fact that the officer was from Bangladesh, I went back into my records of registration for LSU Homeland Security training courses. And in fact, I did train this officer at the NYPD counterterrorism. And he was a rookie, and he came up to me because he had a lot of questions, and he knew that I had been in Dakar in Bangladesh doing work for the State Department. And I had a long conversation with him about what he wanted to do with his career. Wow. And he was interested in counterterrorism, and I wasn't sure initially, but then when I checked the registration just while the press conference was going on, I found his name.
So you trained this officer, 3.5 year on the job. I would still consider him a rookie. I think. Yeah. We in the NYPD know that. I think once you hit that 5-year mark, it's like a soft that you're not a rookie at that point. I think I had to wait till I was almost 10 years on the job before they stopped calling me rookie.
It was funny because when I was doing my introduction to the training course, I was telling them about my State Department work and where I've gone in the world. And when I said Bangladesh, he at the first break, he immediately came up to me and, said he was from Bangladesh, and we was talking. And then every break thereafter, he kept, peppering me with questions about the job because, he is a rookie, and he wanted advice about his career and, what he should think about doing in his career with the NYPD. And man, just blown away. Well, it's, I've investigated so many, when I was on the job, I investigated so many officers killed in the line of duty. But now it's kind of a little different. I trained somebody that was killed.
Yeah. God. When you sent me that message in the private chat, I almost asked back, who? I did answer back to you, who? And I couldn't believe after I started looking at it, I was like, oh, he said he trained him. Small world. And again, this is just heartbreaking, Ed, on many different levels, because you had interactions with him as you trained him. So again, officer at the 4-7 precinct, there was some misinformation that was out there, and there was a ton of misinformation with live reporting. They first said it was a female officer, a male, and then now we got the press conference. I just want to go over some of the things that the police commissioner and the mayor said. And yeah, it's just heartbreaking. He had a young family. They went over, he's a father. And this is just heartbreaking to hear this. Tonight is just a really sad evening, and there's going to be so much more to talk about in the days to come as it pertains to the mental health issues and what the motive was behind this perpetrator coming in to New York City and driving across the country. So it's just so much going on. But I feel horrible for you, Ed, because you had up close and personal conversations with this police officer who was murdered in the line of duty. Looks like we got a funeral to go to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I want to close by saying this was live coverage for the shooting that occurred at 345 Park Avenue. It was a mass shooting because we have 5 shot, 4 dead. And then if you want to include the 6th, it would be the gunman who suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And we showed a lot of coverage and pictures and photographs from the New York Post earlier. I want to thank everybody for coming back on and watching this press conference. I don't want to play it again because it was a little bit long. But Ed, anything else that you want to add to it?
No, my condolences to the officer's family, and I'm so sorry. This was a tragedy of epic proportions because this guy was so into being on the job and was planning his career and thinking of ways to educate himself and to pad his resume and to make him an attractive candidate for counterterrorism assignment. Obviously, he was hustling off duty to make some extra money.
Right.
Family.
About the second officer that was assigned to this paid detail assignment at 345 Park Avenue. I worry about the mental health status and the headspace of that male or female officer that was working this post, because, albeit they may have been in separate areas, it said that this gunman came in, immediately engaged in the lobby, shot a security guard, and then took a right and shot this police officer. So he must have been posted right there at that security booth, right to the right, and then went to the elevators and went up, and a female walked, the doors open, the female was there. He let her walk right past him, and he didn't shoot her. And, just chilling description of what occurred preliminarily inside the location. So it was heart-wrenching. So I'm thinking about everybody involved in sending prayers and strength to the families and loved ones and everybody that's been injured and that may, be holding on at the hospital and trying to recover. So this has been extended coverage of the mass shooting that occurred at 345 Park Avenue at about 6:28 p.m. is when the 911 calls came in for an active shooter. This perpetrator parked his black BMW, double parked it, exited with an M4 rifle. This is as per the police commissioner. Left his vehicle double parked and then entered the lobby, and the rest is history. So I want to thank you all for being here, and thank you for watching this extended coverage of the shooting, and we will see you on the next one. We'll have updates as they become available. Thank you, everybody. Ed, thanks. I know it's been a tough evening, and gosh, just so sad. We'll see everybody soon. God bless from New York City. Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace signing off.